Good morning, everyone. This class is, as you know, it's called an Erle Montaigue Masterclass. I've been teaching this stuff for well over 30 years now and learning for a lot longer, as you know. So over the years, 35 years, you gain a way of teaching people that teaches them really well. So that's what I hope to impart to you, those people who are instructors or those people who wish to be instructors. There are two areas that I want to try and teach you, and there are two areas that you must learn. Unfortunately, most Tai Chi instructors or internal martial arts instructors tend to only learn the second part, and they don't learn the first part very well. The second part, of course, is simply what you teach to your students. So, of course, you have to know the movements yourself in order to teach it to your students. The first part, however, is for yourselves. It's for the instructor. It's literally teaching the instructor to rise to a very high level so that they can then teach this stuff. It's no good for people coming and saying, I've seen so many people who are so-called masters of Tai Chi and they can't move. And that's what brought me to the point of teaching these classes, because if you can't move, you can't teach Tai Chi. And if you can't demonstrate Tai Chi as a martial art, you cannot teach Tai Chi. A lot of people say, oh, but I only teach it for the health benefits. Well, you can't teach Tai Chi for the health benefits because Tai Chi is a martial art. It's a self-defense art. It's the most deadly self-defense art ever invented. And if you can't demonstrate it as at least a half-decent martial art, then you cannot teach it as a health art either. So you must also learn it. Well, you must first of all learn it as it was intended to do, because the health part of Tai Chi is only, as I said yesterday, is an offshoot of practicing Tai Chi the way it should be practiced. So we practice the martial art of Tai Chi in order to gain good health for ourselves and in order to then impart good health to our students. And it must be taught that way. So the first part is the most important part of what I'll be teaching, and that is to give people the knowledge of how to do it themselves. When you first take on a Tai Chi class, even if it's a class of, with an average age of 60 or 70, you still have to show them why they're doing things. So you still have to show them the martial applications. You might lose a few, but it doesn't matter, For those people, to be quite frank, they'd probably be much better off going down and having a good swim every day, doing 10 laps of a pool every day, rather than doing a Tai Chi class. So you must be able to, in a way, it's unfortunate, but you have to be able to impress your students when they first come in. Otherwise, they walk into the class and say, what was that all about? And then they leave. So you must be able to do certain things. And the first thing you must be able to do is simply to be able to move. And that just doesn't mean moving around. It means to be able to move and stop still whenever you want to. Stop still. In other words, you have to have your own internal stillness. And that's the very first step that one ever takes into Tai Chi, especially if you're going to be a teacher, is that you must have this internal stillness and be able to move holding that internal stillness. And there are 8 training methods that come from Wudang Shan, or the Wudang system, that teach us the internal way of moving. And there are a number of different hand methods that we must also learn. There are 8 of those as well, in order for you to show your students how Tai Chi works in a nutshell as a martial art. Of course, along the way, they're going to be learning this, and then over the years and years of training, they'll be learning how to climb the ladder of the martial art to come to a very high level. However, in the beginning, if you tell people, unfortunately, if you tell people in the West that you're going to teach them a martial art, their mind immediately clicks to Bruce Lee or Chuck Norris or some sort of karate or flying kicks and all that sort of garbage. Flying kicks are garbage, by the way. So you have to be able to show your students, okay, this is what Tai Chi self-defense is all about. And rather than telling them rather than talking to them for 3 days, because it would take that long of continuous talk to tell someone exactly what it's all about as a fighting art, we have these little nutshell things that we can show the students so that they can form some sort of an idea about Taiji, because it is greatly different than any other martial arts system. I call it the never giving a sucker an even break martial art, because that's what it's all about. It does things to your opponent that your opponent just doesn't want to happen to him. Heaven forbid, if you're ever attacked with someone, you don't want to do things that your opponent likes. You don't want to do things that your opponent is expecting you to do, obviously. You just don't want to do that. And the art of war, there's nothing surer than he who has the art of the weapon of surprise always wins. Even small armies can defeat huge armies if they have that element of surprise. And that's what Taiji is all about, surprising your opponent with something that he's never been confronted with before. And as I keep saying, I'm not going to go into teaching, it doesn't matter, I'll get onto the little things of the masterclass in a minute, but most people fight like boys in particular still fight even when they're 40 or 50 years of age, still would fight the way they fought as kids in the schoolyard. In other words, he comes up and he goes, yeah, and he pushes him, and then he comes, you push me, don't push, you push me, and then it's like this, you see. And even if you can learn to punch and kick, basically deep down, that's still the way most men will fight. They'll give their opponent a chance, in other words. That's giving your opponent a chance. In other words, Eli's going to push me, I've given him a chance straight away, you see. Oh, I'm going to push him, I've given him a chance straight away. So this is the first thing that you tell your students. This is the thing that you must learn first of all, is the way of Taiji fighting. In other words, so Eli's going to push me. I push him when it's his turn to push me. You see, I don't wait. Okay, he pushes me, so I'm waiting. Now it's my turn. Okay, that's what happens in the schoolyard, you see, as boys. So as he's going to push me, I hit him, and he says, hang on, you can't do that. It's my turn. That's what his brain's thinking, you see. And that's what happens in the art of fighting, real fighting. Your brain says, okay, I've hit you. Oh, now it's your turn. Okay, I'll block that. Oh, it's my turn now. Block that. He's going to throw a kick. Oh, it's his turn to throw a kick. Oh, hang on, it's my turn now. And so on. But you don't do that. Taiji is the art of surprise. So your opponent goes to kick you, and you attack him when it's his turn to attack you. Thank you, Erle. So that's the first thing that you must realize, and that's one of these little nutshell things that we teach people, is the fact that you attack him when it's his turn to attack you. Rather than waiting for your turn to attack him, you attack him instantly when it's his turn. It doesn't matter if he's attacked you properly, even if he just goes like that, you attack him. He might be going to say hi, but just in case, just hit him anyway. Smash him in the nose. The next, I'm going to give you now one of these little, first of all, one of these little hand training methods, which really explains the art of Taiji as a martial art. And this is what you'll have to have in order to show your students